Massive floods in several parts of Bangkok and any other provinces have taken a heavy toll on the Thai Airways International, which already cancelled about 500 domestic and international flights due to a sharp drop in passengers. Airline sources said flights from Bangkok to Hong Kong, Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, London, Paris and Zurich were all affected by the floods, resulting in reduced frequencies of services. Domestic services to Phuket, Hat Yai and Surat Thani have also seen less passengers. As a result, the airline has switched to use smaller aircraft as it reduces the flight frequencies with a view to minimize impacts on regular passengers. The market is expected to return to normal in December, but the floods have already hit the airline's 2011 revenues significantly because it happens during the high season for tourism. During the first 9 months of the year, Thai reported a loss of 4.8 billion baht due to foreign exchange losses and high fuel prices. Meanwhile, the Airports Authority of Thailand reported that Suvarnabhumi International Airport, the country's main gateway, had seen the number of airport users down from an average of 130,000 to about 100,000 per day, while the number of the flights has also declined from about 900 to 800 per day due to the floods in parts of Bangkok and the provinces.
And right now we have President of Thai Airways in the line with us, Kun Piyaswasti Amranand. Good afternoon, ครับ คุณ Piyaswasti.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, คุณ Patsura and คุณ Nathakon.
คุณ Piyaswasti ครับ How has the massive floods in parts of Bangkok and other provinces affected Thai Airways?
The impact on passenger traffic, particularly the foreign travelers, had been very substantial since the flooding spread to Bangkok in the middle of October. Normally October, November, December is the high season. And passenger traffic starts to rise from September, beginning from around the middle of October. But this year we had seen rapid decline in passenger traffic from September, as various countries had issued travel warnings to Thailand. We have seen very significant decline in passenger traffic between Thailand and the various Asian countries. Now, Asia had been very good market for Thai Airways this year. Most of the growth in our passenger traffic this year had come from Asian market like China, Japan, Singapore, and so on. But after the various travel warnings had come out, we had seen very substantial decline. For example, the northern part of Thailand, Japan, China, and so on, as well as the south, like Singapore. The decline had been as much as 40 to 50% compared with the same period last year.
Right.
The decline in the European passengers is less. That, I think, is presumably due to the fact that travel warning issued by the various European countries had been a lot more mild than the Asian countries. As a result, for the first half of November, for example, we had seen traffic in terms of passenger kilometer declining by nearly 18% from the same period of last year. Our cabin factor had come down, for example, in October had come down to 65.8%, whereas it should be 74%. And this month, the first half of this month, the average cabin factor is around 58%, which is very low because normally it should be around 72% for November.
How are you dealing with the international warning and traveling regulations to Thailand?
Now, the travel warning, I think, reflects the news and the reports that is coming out of Thailand. If you look at the newspaper, look at the television, if you look at the various announcements by the government, it's all pretty scary.
Yes.
You see that sort of report every day. Maybe you get pretty severe report coming out 10 times per day. And the international news network, CNN, BBC, simply reflect what is going on in the domestic news network. So you can't blame the foreigners and the foreign governments for issuing these travel warnings, despite the fact that we all know that the central part of Bangkok is dry. Suvarnabhumi Airport is working normally, and what people in foreign countries see the picture of Suvarnabhumi Airport, Don Mueang Airport being flooded. What do you expect them to think? It's not something which I think we can do a lot, because this is really the duty of the government. If Thai Airways come out and say, no, it's perfectly safe, don't worry, come back to Thailand, but then at the same time you have 10 other reports coming out each day saying that people in this area and this particular area should evacuate. The government is not working for 5 days, etc., etc. I think a positive report will be totally overwhelmed by the various negative reports you are seeing in the press and from the various government agencies.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that one, because the flood reports are pretty centric to the damage reports, while other areas which are tourism centric are not affected, were not reported.
Right.
Well, so on that part of Thai Airways, we are doing what we can. We had issued reports saying that Suvarnabhumi Airport is working normally, and we had also been implementing certain programs in order to bring back the confidence. For example, this morning we had the first inaugural flight between Brussels and Bangkok. Now, Belgium has been actually very good, because it actually issued travel warning, a mild one, some time ago, and now they had lifted that. So our first flight, Brussels to Bangkok this morning, was nearly full. And the Belgian people seem to be confident that they can come to Thailand safely. They come here, they go on to Phuket, Chiang Mai, or some other neighboring countries, and so on. We had also brought along about 20 contestants of Miss Belgium, and they will be holding various activities in Chiang Mai for the next month before having final selection in Belgium early next year. I think that this sort of positive reports, which have been organized between Thai Airways, Tourism Authority of Thailand, and the Thai Embassy in Brussels, is a good example of the sort of thing we can do, I think, in order to bring up the level of confidence so that people will still come to visit Thailand. Because in the current situation, it's not only the factories which have been flooded, which have been affected. One tend to forget that the tourism-related industry had been severely impacted by the current situation.
From your discussions with the airport authorities, what kind of assurances have they given you about the Suvarnabhumi concerning the floods?
That's what Suvarnabhumi Airport, I don't think will be flooded. We have backup plan in case it's flooded, and I think we have been working closely with AOT on that, and I think that AOT had done a good job in ensuring that Suvarnabhumi Airport is not flooded. But that's not the point. The point is that Don Mueang Airport is flooded, despite the fact that we are not using Don Mueang Airport, and that is all over the world. And people think that airport in Bangkok is flooded. You cannot travel to Bangkok.
Well, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, คุณ
Thank you.
Piyasvasti.
Thank you very much.
ขอบคุณค่ะ